This is unsustainable. It's unsustainable. To politicize everything means we're always fighting because we don't all agree and never will. And most people don't want to be forced to say anything. Kylie Jenner posted, "We stand with the people of Israel," and then deleted it, which is pretty much the opposite of standing with. One executive who was interviewed about the pressure companies have felt to make a statement about the Hamas war said, "We're not historians. A lot of us didn't understand the issue very well, didn't understand the history." Exactly. And I bet you still don't. So why not just shut the fuck up? I don't need... I don't need to be reminded that Spanx's stretchy pants are against racism. I don't care who Frito-Lay stands with. You make bean dip. Just do that.
One Bill Maher just lit a fire under Disney, and it wasn't pretty. In his relentless crusade against woke culture, Maher took direct aim at the entertainment giant, accusing it of hijacking storytelling and turning it into a progressive sermon. His message: people don't need billion-dollar corporations lecturing them on how to think, live, or believe. The takedown was savage, unapologetic, and completely earned. And the best part, we've got every moment queued up. Strap in.
Disney didn't want to get into a big pissing match with Ron DeSantis about sex in grade school, but its employees sure did, so they had to. Now one side thinks Disney said too much, the other thinks it didn't say enough. We see this pattern over and over. We saw it with Bud Light, when they did ads with a trans influencer, and MAGA Nation thought it was a plot to use beer to turn them gay.
If you're not caught up on the Disney versus DeSantis clash, here's the rundown. Back in 2022, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed the Parental Rights in Education bill, which critics quickly labeled the Don't Say Gay law. Disney jumped into the political ring, loudly opposing the legislation and claiming it targeted LGBTQ communities. In retaliation, DeSantis stripped Disney of its long-held special self-governing privileges. What started as a policy disagreement exploded into a full-blown cultural war, pitting conservative government against corporate activism. Disney wasn't just being inclusive, they had an agenda, and they broadcast it loud and clear, just like Bud Light. But here's what the media won't tell you. No one on the right actually believed drinking Bud Light would make them gay. That's lazy narrative building. The real backlash came from Bud Light using a biological male, Dylan Mulvaney, to market beer to an audience largely made up of traditional, working-class men. People weren't angry at inclusion. They were sick of being force-fed progressive identity politics during their downtime. Whether it's a beer ad or a family trip to a theme park, audiences don't want a lecture. They want a break.
Corporations. This year, Target put up special rainbow displays which presented Christians who oppose gay marriage with an impossible choice. Either support a gay lifestyle and go to hell for it, or shop at Kohl's.
If you missed the Disney versus DeSantis showdown, here's the quick version. In 2022, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed the Parental Rights in Education bill, which the media instantly branded the Don't Say Gay law. Disney jumped headfirst into politics, slamming the bill and claiming it attacked LGBTQ communities. DeSantis hit back hard, stripping Disney of its decades-long self-governing privileges. What began as a legislative debate quickly became a frontline battle in the culture war, conservative leadership on one side, corporate activism on the other. But let's be honest, Disney wasn't just being inclusive, they were pushing an agenda, and they wanted everyone to hear it, just like Bud Light did. And here's what the mainstream media won't admit. Conservatives didn't boycott Bud Light because they thought beer would turn them gay. That's pure spin. The real backlash came when Bud Light chose Dylan Mulvaney, a biological male, to sell beer to a blue-collar audience that didn't ask for woke messaging with their six-pack. People aren't mad at inclusion. They're tired of being bombarded with identity politics when all they want is to unwind. Whether it's a commercial, a movie, or a trip to a theme park, they want entertainment, not indoctrination.
And why did I ever need to know that Chick-fil-A is chicken that's Christian? Can't it just be chicken? This is unsustainable. It's unsustainable. To politicize everything means we're always fighting because we don't all agree and never will. And most people don't want to be forced to say anything. Kylie Jenner posted, "We stand with the people of Israel," and then deleted it, which is pretty much the opposite of standing with.
Seriously, why the hell did I need to know where Chick-fil-A stands on politics just to eat a damn chicken sandwich? That right there is the absurd hypocrisy choking our culture. Celebrities are petrified to say anything even slightly controversial. One offbeat opinion, one joke taken the wrong way, and suddenly it's a full-blown social media meltdown. Hashtags start trending, PR teams go into panic mode, and careers hang in the balance over a single misstep. It's ridiculous, and it's killing honest conversation. But here's the kicker. Bill Maher's right on this one. Celebrities helped create this mess. They injected themselves into every culture war, every hot-button issue, like it was their duty to be the moral compass of civilization. Newsflash, not every actor needs to be a political analyst. Not every singer has to double as a philosopher. And for the love of God, not every award show needs to turn into a campaign rally. When your whole public persona is built on virtue signaling and hot takes, you're just begging to be dragged. Because once you crown yourself the voice of every cause, people expect perfection. And in a culture addicted to outrage, the moment you mess up, even slightly, the same mob you pandered to is the one.
One executive who was interviewed about the pressure companies have felt to make a statement about the Hamas war said, "We're not historians. A lot of us didn't understand the issue very well, didn't understand the history." Exactly. And I bet you still don't. So why not just shut the fuck up? I don't need... I don't need to be reminded that Spanx's stretchy pants are against racism. I don't care who Frito-Lay stands with. You make bean dip. Just do that.
Disney needs to learn one thing. Stay the hell out of the culture wars. Nobody's asking a movie studio to solve society's problems. Their job is simple: tell great stories, create unforgettable characters, and bring families together. Not push political agendas or lecture parents on progressive values. The moment a studio forgets that and starts chasing social justice trends, the magic disappears. Fast, let the Twitter activists argue with each other. Disney should focus on what made it legendary: timeless stories, universal themes, and pure escapism. That's what audiences want, not another ideological sermon wrapped in CGI. And if you want proof, look no further than the disaster that was the Snow White remake. What should have been a nostalgic, crowd-pleasing reboot turned into a masterclass in how to tank a film. It was loaded with political messaging, identity politics, and a lead actress who practically mocked the original story. The result: a massive box office flop and a brand that took a hit. Here's the truth. Audiences aren't begging for political validation. They're begging for magic, adventure, and a break from the chaos. Disney doesn't need to be a cultural warrior.
They couldn't put dwarfs because this is just so typical of the left. The progressives always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive. You'd think the most progressive thing would be get people jobs, and dwarfs want to work.
This is like an honest golden employment opportunity for dwarves.
There's not that many scripts that come down the pike.
No, there's 7 of them.
That has, and there's 7 dwarf jobs here. But because I think it was Peter Dinklage said this is, this is not right. This is demeaning. And they were like, what? We just want to work. We're dwarves. So, ho, ho, ho.
What's wild is that most of this so-called woke messaging, it's coming straight from the political left. And credit where it's due, Bill Maher is one of the very few liberals who's actually willing to call out the nonsense from his own side. Take Disney's live-action Snow White remake. On paper, it should have been the perfect moment to cast real actors with dwarfism, a chance to give visibility and meaningful roles to a group that rarely gets the spotlight. But nope, in true performative fashion, Disney went the CGI route. Their excuse: they didn't want to perpetuate harmful stereotypes. Translation: they erase the exact people they claim they're protecting. That's not inclusion, that's exclusion wrapped in virtue signaling. It's activism with no backbone, rather than challenge old stereotypes through creative, respectful storytelling. They just hit delete and moved on, offending plenty of people in the process. And the irony, in trying so hard to appear progressive, they ended up silencing the very community they pretended to defend. Oh, and it didn't help that their lead actress, Rachel Ziegler, turned out to be a walking PR nightmare. Just wait.
Snow White being woke.
Can you tell us a little bit about your version of Snow White?
Yeah, I mean, Snow White is the girl you remember, but she's definitely made for the modern age, and there's such an emphasis on what it really means to be the fairest of them all. And for Snow White, it's coming to terms with finding herself and finding her inner voice and finding a sense of agency so that she can be a just ruler and a wonderful queen, because there's another one in town who's...
The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird. We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because, like, we cast a guy in the movie. Right. Andrew Burnap, great dude. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows?
It's no mystery why people are boycotting Disney or why someone like Bill Maher is calling them out. This isn't just about politics, it's about principles, storytelling, and basic respect for the audience. First, Disney didn't just snub actors with dwarfism, they took real opportunities and actual paychecks off the table. That's not progress, that's exploitation dressed up as virtue. Then they went and butchered Snow White, a timeless tale that generations grew up loving, and turned it into something barely recognizable. What used to be a heartfelt story about innocence, kindness, and redemption got hijacked and turned into a social lecture. Instead of the classic, hopeful character, Snow White was rebranded into yet another strong, independent woman stereotype who doesn't need a prince or anyone else. Thank you very much. Look, the empowerment is great, but fans didn't show up for a TED Talk on gender roles. They came for the magic. And when studios start rewriting beloved classics to fit a political checklist, they don't just lose box office dollars, they lose something far more valuable, the trust of their audience. And now that audience, they're pushing back with...
When I hear Astroglide wants you to know that they support stop. You lost me. I don't want to live in this annoying world where they can't drink Bud Light and we can't eat Chick-fil-A. I'm sick of all of it. This Thanksgiving, I'm going to make beer can chicken with Bud Light and Chick-fil-A. And anybody who doesn't like it can go fuck themselves. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody!
Starting TR008 look, everyone's free to believe what they want. That's the whole point of living in a free society. But that freedom also includes the right to push back, especially when we're constantly being told what to accept, what to celebrate, what to cancel, and what to stay silent about. People are tired of being force-fed values dressed up as entertainment. It's not conversation anymore, it's moral coercion. And guess what? That freedom to speak up, it cuts both ways. Progressives have every right to promote their causes, but conservatives and anyone else who doesn't buy into the agenda have the exact same right to walk away, boycott, or call it out. That's not bigotry. That's not intolerance, that's capitalism. You can't shove ideology down your audience's throat and then act shocked when they stop showing up. If a company chooses to get political, it better be ready to deal with political fallout. People aren't obligated to spend money on messaging they find fake or preachy. That's not hate, that's consumer choice, that's voting with your wallet, and that is free expression. At the end of the day, the formula is simple. Audiences want great stories, not ideological lectures. And when companies like Disney trade authenticity for activism, they lose the people who made them iconic in the first place. Bill Maher isn't defending hate, he's defending common sense. If entertainment keeps picking politics over magic, the audience will keep walking. And honestly, who can blame them? That's it for today's video. If you liked what you heard, hit that like button, subscribe, and stick around. We've got a lot more truth bombs coming your way. Thanks for watching.